Hello again. Sorry it's been so long since the last video. Just kind of got busy. But I thought today would be the perfect time to get another coloring video in because I'm getting ready for a new Sweet November release over at All That Scraps. And this little gal is actually one of the new Sweet November stamps that's not going to be available for purchase until Friday. Her name is Paprika, and she's one of the kind of unofficial spice fairies that I've got a little bit of a continuing on with. She's the third in the series. So anyway, I'm going to be coloring up Paprika today, and I'm just starting off with my kind of go-to skin color combination, the E000, E00, and E11. And I'm going to have my light source coming in from the left-hand side so that her eye line is facing it. So she's going to be highlighted more along the back side of her body rather than from the front. I thought it would be a fun little change up there. So I'm going to start with my lightest, and this is on Copic X-Press It cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. And I'm just going to start laying in my color. And I work light to dark, and I just kind of use my first kind of lay down of color. I'm mapping out where my darkest areas are going to be at the end when I finish coloring up the image. So I'm just kind of putting down where I know I want those shadows and darker areas to be. I'm leaving what I want to be the lightest white here at the beginning. I'm not worrying about blending at this point. I'm just laying down color. And then we got her legs down here. Her feet. Now I'm going to move to my medium tone, the E00. And I'm going right over top the 000, just not quite as far down in most areas. I'm just building up the darker skin tone now, but still not really blending. Again, it's just getting my color on. It's when I work my way back down that I'm going to worry more about getting the smooth blends and having the colors work together nicely. This is just getting it on. And then because this arm back here is really in shadow, most of that is going to be dark, dark, dark because it's on the far side of her body and then away from the light source as well. Okay, kind of get in the arches of her feet so that it'll be like the heel and the ball of her foot is out closer to our light source. Alright, now the E11 is the darkest color in my combination, and this is the one I'm going to use the least amount of. I'm just kind of using the very tip of the marker to give myself a fine line of shadow, especially underneath the bangs. Her ponytail here against her neck is going to cast a shadow there. And then underneath her chin, down here. Oh, and I've been forgetting her ear. I'll have to go back there and get that in a second. And then we're going to kind of create the arch of her nose. And then this far side of her face can be a little bit heavy handed over here because all of that, besides I'm going to get just that the high part of her cheekbone, I'm going to leave a little bit lighter, just like it's kind of catching a little bit more light than the lower half of her face. I'm even going to give her a little kind of dimple on the end of her mouth there. Okay, so now I'm just laying in my shadow there. Always opposite that light source that you establish. And on her fingers, and then really quite a bit. I mean, I might leave a little bit lighter just so we have a little bit of contrast playing there too, and it's not flat, flat, flat with the darkest color that we have going. And then on the leg, I'm throwing shadows on the bottom of the leg, and then there will also be a little bit of shadow, where she's sitting on her own leg, so that's going to cast a little bit of shadow there too. Toes. Okay. Oh, underarm. Now is when I'm going to start blending. And so I go back to my medium tone, the 00. And this is where I just pull right over top the 11. And now come down a bit farther than I did the first time. And this is going to start blending them out and together. Here, and then on her arms. You can see I'm starting to really fill in that white space that I left to start. Because this is where we're finally getting that skin tone all finished out. So I'm blending up on her legs. And as I'm doing this, I'm realizing I should be refilling this marker. It is getting pretty dry. Let's see if I can make it through this. And then I'm going to finish off with the 000. And that's finally, I'm just starting in the whitest area and blending into that medium area. I try not to go all the way back into the 11. Because I want to leave some contrast from our light and dark. Same down here. Okay. Then on the little balls of her feet, the heels, and the balls of the feet, toes, and a little bit down here, but not much. Okay, so now I'm going to go in and add some blush on her cheeks with the R00. And then my R20 over top of it. You could live without the R00. I just like how it kind of mutes down the R20 a bit. And I'm going to get some R20 on her lip as well. And now I'm going to take my 00 and I'm going to kind of blend the cheek color in a bit more while it's still wet. And then on that side, the 000, because this is my lightest area here. Okay, so that looks pretty good. What am I on time? 9 minutes. Okay, let's do her eyes. BG13. And then just a little bit of BG18 underneath the lid, the eyelid, where it'd be a little bit darker. Okay. And I'm not even going to blend. Because it was so wet, the 18 is kind of soaking into the 13 nicely, and it's going to give a nice highlight as small as those eyes are. Okay, so now for her hair. And she's got this fun braid we're going to be working with. And I'm using YR30, YR31, YR24, and YR27. So I'm starting with my lightest. And I'm just going to start, I always start with the part on the head and start laying color down from there. Okay. Oh, and there's that ear. Man, totally forgot it again. Let me hit that real quick. We'll get her all caught up to date. Just getting the inside of that ear where it kind of folds in on itself, and a little tiny line where it's curving around up there, and then just blend it with the triple. Okay, easy peasy. Okay, so back to my hair. YR30. Okay, so now on the braid and stuff, I'm working opposite the light source again. So everything on this side of the braid, I'm going to leave pretty white to start with, and I'm going to start laying the shadow in opposite at that. Okay. Now YR31. And right over top that 30. And this side of her head's going to be a lot darker right back here, so I'm not leaving a lot of white space back there to begin with. And I kind of hit the bottom of the bangs. And then, even though this is closer to the light source, I want to give that impression of the hair falling over the other hair, so I'm kind of going a little bit darker there. And then under the ear there. Kind of following those lines around, because that's a part of the braid going over itself, and so it's going to create a little bit of shadow. Just quickly laying on color. Okay. Now YR24. And this is where we're going to start getting our contrast going. We've been pretty light so far with the YR30, YR31. But this is going to start giving us a nice golden tone to her hair. Okay. And then just the same, just not quite as much on as the last two colors, just kind of hinting at the shadow and the low lights that we're creating. Okay. Nice twisty little braid. It's a lot of fun to color. And really not too hard at all. I am going to come down on those two areas there. Okay. Then my darkest is the YR27. It's one of the new colors for 2012. And I've been playing around with it quite a bit recently, and I'm having a lot of fun throwing it into different hair color combinations. And this is one of those that I was kind of experimenting with earlier, I think last week. And this is just throwing in the darker areas. Definitely back here against the face, because that's all going to be much darker. Okay, so I've got it all kind of mapped out, and it's not pretty, it's not perfect, it's not blended at all, but this is now giving me the idea of where I want to have that color going. So now I'm going to blend my way back down with the YR24, And this is right over top the 27, blending out. Coming out further than I did the first time. Okay. Don't forget the bangs over here. Still leaving white because I want to have those highlights at the end. Now to my YR31, and I'm not starting all the way back where the 27 is. I want to start kind of here in the YR24 area because I'm starting to blend the light into the medium. And that's going to finish off that side. I'm not going to take any of the YR30 over there as far away as it is. I want to keep that a little bit darker than, say, the hair over on this side of her head. Okay. Now I'm going to just finish up getting the color on here. And then taking the YR30, filling in anything that I left white. You could certainly leave a little bit more white than I do if you want super shiny hair. But really this YR30 is so light you could go over it and it still reads as almost white. Okay. So you could be done and have, you know, a perfectly fine head of hair there. But I'm going to throw in a little bit of lowlights with the YR27. Just real quick. Mostly following the lines provided, but I will, with the very tip of the marker, just add in just a few. Always in the direction the hair is kind of being pulled. You know, so that's going around. And creating some of that braid. Get back here on her head. I'm just going to spin her around real quick so I can get the hair going the way I want. Okay. And then the bangs. This little piece here. And then on this side of the head. Okay. See, not too bad. Pretty quick and easy. The little grooves in the braid there doing a lot of the work for you. And then the more low lights you add in, the redder the hair is going to look on this particular color combination, which is kind of what I'm going for. Okay, but she's got some nice golden highlights that are a fun contrast to that, and that is a finished little skin hair combination, and I'll come back and do the dress and wings here in a little bit. Okay, so thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I'll see you in a while.